Hey, class of 2021. Next year, you will be seniors, and today we are going to practice social distancing as well as do our course request. So, today I'm going to have a video and I'm going to explain the different types of classes, different things that we need to get taken care of for next year, your senior year. Next year is really important because you have a lot of classes that are required throughout your 4 years of high school, and we have to make sure that you have completed those so you have enough credits as well as the required courses by the state in order to graduate. So what I'm going to do right now is I've got your graduation plan pulled up here on this screen, and we're going to look at your 12th grade. You are going to have your graduation plans, your personal graduation plans that we've been working on these 4 years of high school. Those are going to be emailed to you by me. And what you're going to do is you're going to pull up your email as well as this video, and we're going to kind of do these course requests together. What I've done is, like I've done in the past, I have written out what courses you should take. I've put some question marks in there. Remember, all of this is done in pencil, so a lot of these things aren't set in stone, but some of them are. Some of them you have to have in order to graduate. They're your core classes as well as courses that you have been working towards an endorsement. And you also have to have an endorsement in order to graduate. So some of these electives I have put in there, and you may decide, I don't want to do that anymore. Well, you may have to do that because you have to complete an endorsement. So how we're going to respond through this is you are going to look at your graduation plan that I have emailed you, and then you are going to respond to me. You're going to say, yes, everything looks good, or can we do this instead? And that's how we're going to have communication. I want to make sure that we have all these course requests in. That way we can start looking at scheduling for next year. Sorry about that. Okay, so to get started, I'm going to go through our students who are on our regular graduation plan first. And then once I go through that, I'm going to go over our honors graduation plan for those of you who have been taking honors and dual credit classes the past 3 years. First of all, so next year, everybody will take English 4. That's a required course. There's no dual credit anymore on that, so it's just English 4. If you look at the next one, it's math. Most of you will be taking college algebra. If you are not taking college algebra, I probably put in algebra 2 in there. And that's just depending on your grades and your ability with math. If you took algebra 2 this year, if you're in algebra 2, you will go to college algebra next year. Okay? So if you haven't had algebra 2, you will not be in college algebra. But I went ahead and I wrote that on your grad plan if you're going to be in algebra 2 or college algebra. Advanced science. Some of you don't need a science this year because you've already doubled up. When I say this year, I talk about next year. But some of you don't need a science because you've doubled up. Most of you will need a science. Those choices for an advanced science are anatomy, forensics, and advanced animal science. Anatomy is taught by Miss Combs. If you are interested in the health field, that class is probably a very good advanced science class to take because you are learning your different bones and muscles in the body. That is a rigorous science. So if you are not health science related, or if you don't really love science, I'm going to steer you away from that one because it is very tough. Forensics, that's another advanced animal science you can choose. That is more towards crime scene investigation. If you were like in the law enforcement track, that's a good science to take there. Ms. Combs teaches that as well. And then advanced animal science, that is taught by Mr. Hogg. And that is directed, of course, more towards animals. Yes, Mr. Hogg is our FFA teacher. That does not mean you're a part of FFA. That is just a science that you would take. So you have to have 4 years of science in order to graduate. If you have had chemistry, which most of you are taking chemistry this year, you will need an advanced science to graduate, which is anatomy or forensics with Ms. Combs or advanced animal science with Mr. Hogg. If you look here on your grad plan, some of you have already taken some of this stuff. So fine art credit, a lot of you have taken that and you've got that done with, but that is a requirement in order to graduate. So you have to have 1 year of fine art. If you have taken band for at least 1 year, you have already fulfilled that credit. If you are enrolled in 3D animation with Ms. Trujillo or Ms. Telchik this year, then you've already earned that credit. Or if you have taken art or theater arts in the past, as long as you've had 1 year of it, you do not necessarily have to have another year. I'm going to check my screen again before it goes blank. You can continue with the fine arts. Say you're in Art 1 or Art 2 this year and you still want to take art. That's fine. That can still count as an elective. Same with theater, same with band. But the minimum requirement for graduation is 1 year of art, fine art. Spanish 2, some of you, most of you have already fulfilled your 2 years of Spanish. If you haven't, I have marked that on your graduation plan that you need to fulfill that Spanish 2 credit. Not very many of you need that, but if I have starred something on your graduation plan, that means you have to have it. It is a requirement. PE or athletics is not listed over here on this column, but if you have not had 1 year of PE, then you have to have that to graduate. If you were in band for 2 years in the fall semester, that has counted as your PE credit, so you don't have to worry about that. If you do need PE, I have put that on there and I have started. So do not get rid of that. That is a requirement. We have to have it to graduate. And then you'll notice you've got a lot of you will have probably 3 to 4 blanks here for you to choose as electives or CTE endorsements. If you were on a certain endorsement path, I have went ahead and put in whatever class you need to fulfill that endorsement. For an example, say you have been working on welding. I have went ahead and I have assumed you're going to continue with welding, and I have put that 3rd or 4th year of welding in there. And I've started, probably question marked it, and more than likely you'll need to finish up with that. But if there is something that you have just decided you don't want to do it anymore, email me. Let's look at it. Let's see if there's something else you can do to still have an endorsement, because you have to have that to graduate. So all those blank marks, we're just going to do the best that we can to fill them out. But the more communication you have with me via email, the better we're going to have a plan. For seniors, you can also be in the work program your senior year, which means you have to be good on credits. Okay, you cannot be behind. We have to make sure that we're good on all those STAR tests in order to graduate. We want to make sure you're good that way. But the work program is actual classes, and they are credits towards graduation. So, this year we've had some seniors who have went to school for 4 class periods a day, and then they've worked the rest of the day. And that is something that a lot of you can possibly do if you are working. That work program, you have to have been enrolled in BIM 1 or BIM 2. Okay. If you've already had BIM 1 in the past and you're going to work this year, then what I will do is I'll enroll you in BIM 2 along with the work program. If you've never had BIM 1 and you want to work, you can still do that. But just know BIM 1 or BIM 2 is going to be attached to that work program. So you could possibly work 3 class periods and then have BIM 1 or BIM 2 with Ms. Telchik for that other class period. There will be some opportunities to apply for jobs with the district for the different campuses. You could work with kids at North, South. At the high school, you could possibly work in the office. I know technology, excuse me again. I know technology will need some workers that way, and more information about that will be kind of pushed along as we go. But you can have all types of different jobs, different fast food jobs. I know there's businesses around town that need people to work as well. The deal is with the work program, though, is you have to have a job within the first 10 days of the beginning of school. If not, we have to take you out of the work program, and that's a state law. So if you're interested in the work program this summer, make sure that you have a job, you've been looking for a job, and you've requested that with your course request. I think that's all that I have for the regular grad plans. And like I said, if you have questions, please email me as you're filling out. All you're going to do is respond to me by email. Yes, this looks good, or no, let's change this, or can we change this? And I'll start communicating with you through email. What I want to do now is go ahead and switch to our honors track grad plans for those seniors for next year. So let me change that real quick. Okay, so for our honors track, if you will notice, you have English 4. We do not offer English 4 dual credit anymore. The reason being is most colleges, you don't need that English 2301 or 2302. It's not a requirement anymore for an English credit. It can transfer as a humanities credit, but it's a pretty difficult dual credit class to take to just receive a humanities credit. So we just don't offer that anymore. Howard's kind of gotten away from that. So really, the only dual credit opportunity you're going to have this coming year is for pre-cal dual credit. And that will be your fall semester of math. So in order to be enrolled in that pre-cal dual credit class, you have to have passed your math TSI. So a lot of you, what I've done is on your grad plan, I may have put a question mark by pre-cal. If you know you don't want to do dual credit math, then you need to go ahead and sign up for college algebra, because you have to have that 4th year. If you do want to take pre-cal dual credit that spring semester, just let me know. Just make sure you respond to that email. I do want to take pre-cal dual credit, and we'll start looking at the math TSI test. I will still give you those math TSI tests. If you haven't taken and passed that yet, you will still get that opportunity to test. More information will be coming later on. And, once the next few weeks go by, and then in the summer, I'll probably start pulling you in to test. And, we'll still have to do the dual credit paperwork and things like that, like normal. That dual credit class is about $280 for the spring semester. So just kind of start thinking about that. If you've taken dual credit in the past, you know that we offer that scholarship for those who return a letter explaining why they need assistance, and if they qualify for free or reduced lunch, then the school can pay up to 80% of that dual credit, which means you'd only have to pay about $56 for the actual class. Now, the dual credit class was only in the fall semester, but in the spring, you would still stay in that same class period. You would still get your high school math credit, and it'll still be an honors weighted course. It just will not be dual credit, which means you don't pay for it, you don't get college credit, but it's still an honors weighted course for your GPA and rank. Because I know a lot of you are wanting to be in that top 10%, and that's important to you. So Howard's not offering it dual credit anymore, but you won't be punished for that. You will still get that honors credit. Let's go to the advanced science now. Most of you Some of you honors kids doubled up last year or this year for science, and you may not need a fourth science this coming year unless you were trying to do a STEM endorsement, which means you may want to have 5 years of science to graduate. So if you want 5 years of science, you doubled up last year, you can take a science this year. I'm not going to tell you no, but as long as you've had 4 years of science, then you're okay. If you did not double up last year, then of course your selections are the same as the regular students. You can have the advanced animal science with Mr. Hogg. You can have anatomy with Ms. Combs or forensics with Ms. Combs for next year. Most of you were in physics honors this year, so you will have that honors weighting credit for this year. Again, fine arts, we got to make sure that's all covered. We got to make sure that you have 2 years of Spanish. Everything else is the same, but you may have a little bit more open room this year because some of you did double up. So if you're wanting to work, you can work up to 3 class periods. Make sure we have that BIM 1 and BIM 2 somewhere in there. And then we'll kind of go from there. So just whenever you start looking at these course requests and your grad plan, just make sure you email me with any questions. And instead of me going around the room, kid by kid, it's going to be email by email. Okay? And I think that's all I have for the class of 2021. You should be receiving those emails shortly, and that's when we'll start our course request process. Y'all stay well.